Howdy. France to restart all nuclear reactors by winter amid energy crunch. There is water in front of this nuclear power plant as well. Tell me, what you gonna do when your well runs dry? I would like to know what you gonna do when your well runs dry. Well, anyway, France Minister for Energy Transition said Friday that French electricity giant EDF has committed to restart all its nuclear reactors by this winter to help the country through the broad energy crisis aggravated by the war in the Ukraine. Or a lack of water. Or maybe soon an overabundance of it. But let's see. We might know more in 2 weeks or so. Because if there is too much water, they have to shut down the nuclear power plants, and if there is too little water or too less, they have to shut down the nuclear power plant. Nuclear power plants are heavily related on water, as we have learned from, for example, Fukushima. It's built on the shore because they need water in order to cool it down, and then they had quite too much water. And it wasn't good either. But anyway, Agnes Ranier-Runacher said the government is taking steps to avoid restrictive measures over energy use in the peak winter cold season following a special government meeting over energy issues. France relies on nuclear energy for about 67% of its electricity, more than any other country, and on gas for about 7%. At the moment, 32 of France's 56 nuclear reactors are all operated by EDF. France's TEPCO are shut down for usual maintenance and, in some cases, to repair corrosion problems. Rusty stuff. Ions changing places. There is a schedule that provides that starting from October, each week, a new nuclear plant is operational again. So, if they talk about the winter half year, what do we have? Some 26 power plants. If there's every week one, but I don't know. On Tuesday, Prime Minister Elisabeth Borne had warned that the worst-case scenario this winter could lead to rolling 2-hour power cuts in French homes. The same thing as here in Finland. Shut down the shops and lights off, and everyone is silent, sitting at home, watching their phones. The government will closely monitor the situation of nuclear plants that reported corrosion issues. EDF started taking action, and they must confirm to us that it is progressing as they had planned, Runacher said. Global construction review. Finland's Olkiluoto 3 goes online after 12-year construction delay. Yeah. The Olkiluoto 3 nuclear reactor went online in Finland on Saturday, 12 years after its deadline and around 8 billion over its original 3 billion euro budget. Finnish nuclear operator Teollisuuden Voima, TVO, said the reactor has begun supplying some power to the country's grid, although it will not reach full capacity until July, reports Deutsche Welle. The work was carried out by French engineer Areva and Germany Siemens. Construction began in 2005 and was to be completed 4 years later. French engineer Areva. So let's let this sink in for a second while watching this picture and have a silent moment. Yeah, but it shouldn't be too long. There is something interesting going on still. And for this, we go over to the earthquakes. We have still ongoing action in the Azores and action also here, which is very interesting, important, and also down here in La Palma. But we want to check out these quakes here. The one which struck me, which I found the most interesting, is of course this blue one, which some maybe don't even have noticed since it's blue and it's in the ocean. The thing is, it is 180 kilometers deep. 2.7. That's very deep. 3 hours ago. 5 hours ago, we had this one 1 kilometer in depth. Which is also very interesting because this is obviously on the bottom of the sea. But earthquakes, let me draw you a very straight line. If there's depth from the quake, it is always from sea level. 1 kilometer from sea level. So this is 1,000 meters beneath the surface. So it might be actually quite close to the actual crust or the sea floor. We had 9 hours ago 1.3. 12 hours ago another deeper 131 kilometers. That's also a little bit deeper one 20 hours ago, 14 kilometers in depth. And there is this one still 3 hours ago. So we had 3 hours, 3 hours, 5 hours, 18, and 18. So I wanted to show you not only this, which looks very interesting, but also this region, because there are very interestingly named seamounts in that region. In order to see the seamounts and their names, we have to go over to the National Databui Center, because they have actually quite good maps, even though they don't show anything, of course. We have, so the quake, the deep one was somewhere here, the others one were here. We have to go here to this place. Is it here somewhere? Here. Here we have the Lion Bank. And if you go to the right, we should find the Unicorn Bank. Here is it. Here it is. Unicorn Bank. And if you watch at the depth of this, 732 meters. And here we have 3,799 meters, which means there's a height difference between those of 3,000 meters. Which is quite a mountain. So we have the Unicorn Bank, we have the Lion Bank, and we have the Dragon Bank. I find this very interesting. Since the names dragon, lion, unicorn, they're all representing the same thing. Electromagnetic discharge events, which include lightning, very, very heavy storms, supersonic winds, and such things. Recorded in antiquity, carved into stone, and so on. And actually, now when we are here already, I have been talking about the weather system here. There is the equator approximately, probably a little bit more south. Where is Lake Victoria? Here. That's the equator. On the northern shore of Lake Victoria, we have the equator. And there was this weather system which made its connection up here. And I have been talking about the Gulf Stream like many times last year already, when it seemed that it somehow doesn't really circulate as it is supposed to. And now we have two weather systems in the Atlantic which are about to turn around. There's one, and there's another one. It makes a turn as well. And it seems that this one could even make it to Europe. But we will have to wait and see how does it will affect the weather in Europe. And yeah, interesting times ahead of us, around us. We are a part of it. No one can escape it. If you notice that people somehow act strangely, you might understand that all this kind of electromagnetic environmental changes also have an effect on the psyche of humans. They can trigger anxiety and all kinds of things. For some people, they might be really helpful. For some people, not so. So just be aware, watch out space weather, and try to somehow get aware of the situation. That it might be not only you who feels a bit strange, might everybody feel a bit strange. And some of these occurrences, I think they would be even measurable. Because the Earth and the Sun are connected constantaneously. The Sun activity is ramping up more and more, which means Earth's activity is ramping up more and more as well. There has been droughts in Europe and many other places on Earth. There has been drought in Pakistan some months ago. Now there are like huge floods going on. I just wonder, is there a possibility for the same thing happening in Europe as well? With a little delay? Let's see, 2 or 3 weeks from now? Might be a different story to tell about Europe, the water, and probably even something like electricity production halted on nuclear plants due to flooding. More stuff starts to rust because they're not supposed to stand in the water, they're supposed to be on the water. Yeah, I will put a link below to this picture. You can read I suggest you to read. It's very interesting. Especially when you think about Earth's magnetic fields weakening, poles are shifting, or at least make an excursion. Yeah, and many other things, but I think I leave it here. Thanks. Bye.